Mr. Terry Yap Chi Kyong, on duty as Deputy Director of ELTC. Our esteemed speaker for the day, Dr. Chuah from UNIMAS, members of the ELTC academic lecturers, and our fellow ELT scholars joining us from across the nation. Welcome to the Siri webinar Penyelidikan dan Inovasi, Anjuran ELTC Series 1 organized by the Department of Research and Innovation. Today, we delve into a transformative topic, AI as a research partner, new possibilities for ELT scholars. In alignment with the vision of Malaysia Madani and Reformasi Pendidikan, we are here to explore how digital innovation can elevate our scholarship. In today's webinar, let's discover how AI is shifting from a basic tool to a powerful research partner, opening exciting new doors for ELT scholars to plan, conduct, and publish research work, innovate, and excel further in the field of research per se. I will be your moderator for our webinar today, introducing myself, Dr. Sharmini, Siva, Vikaraman from the Department of Research and Innovation, ELTC. Before we proceed, please take note of our webinar ethics and some housekeeping rules. Please ensure your microphones are muted throughout the presentation. Secondly, we recommend turning off your cameras to ensure a stable connection for everyone. After the speaker's presentation, we will open the main room for a Q&A session. If you have any questions, please raise your hand via the GM. I will alert your turn by calling your name out. Then please turn on your camera and microphone, introduce yourself, and go ahead with your question. Otherwise, you may opt to type your question in the chat box. I will then read your question out for the speaker to answer or respond. An attendance and feedback link for your e-certification will be shared at the end of the session. To officially kick off today's event, it is my honor to invite Panur Akmal binti Jais, Director of ELTC, to deliver her opening remarks. Madam, the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum and good day. Distinguished speaker, Dr. Chuah from UNIMAS, respected colleagues and member of the ELTC community. It is my pleasure to be here today to officiate the launch of the Research and Innovation Webinar Series 2026 organized by the Research and Innovation Department of the English Language Teaching Center. This webinar series is a timely and meaningful initiative. In today's rapidly evolving educational landscape, research and innovation are no longer optional, but have become essential. They enable us to move beyond routine practices, to question, to explore, and to continuously improve the way we teach and support learning. Through research, we gain deeper insights into our learners, our context, and our pedagogical approaches. Through innovation, we translate those insights into impactful practice. As Alvin Toffler once said, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. This reminds us that as educators, we must remain adaptive, reflective, and open to change. In a field like English language teaching, where context and technologies continue to evolve, our willingness to learn and to relearn is what sustains quality education. This webinar series serves two important purposes. First, it provides a platform for knowledge sharing in the area of research and innovation. Second, it creates opportunities for ELTC lecturers to present their research findings and best practices, fostering a culture of collaboration and professional growth within our community. Eventually, in future, we hope to provide this professional development space to other educators apart from ELTC to share their research as well. We are honored to begin this series with our inaugural session titled AI as a Research Partner, New Possibilities for ELT Scholars, delivered by Dr. Chuah. This topic is highly relevant as artificial intelligence continues to shape how we conduct research, analyze data, and generate new knowledge in the English language teaching. We also look forward to the continuation of this series in August and November, which will further strengthen our engagement with research and innovation. It is my sincere hope that this initiative will inspire more educators to engage in research, share their work, and contribute meaningfully to the advancements of English language education. With that, I'm pleased to officially launch the Research and Innovation Webinar Series 2026. Thank you.
Thank you, Panorama, for officiating the ELTC Webinar Series 2026, for those inspiring words and for setting a visionary tone for this webinar. In fact, the idea to start a research webinar was from Puan Akma herself to give our own lecturers a platform to share and present their research ideas. Now, let's sit back and view a short launching montage of our webinar series. I hope you enjoyed the montage. That is the launching of our webinar series for 2026. Today, we are privileged to have with us Dr. Chuah. Dr. Chuah is a senior lecturer at UNIMAS and a renowned expert in educational technology and computational linguistics. He is the recipient of the Best Trendsetter Award at IUCEL 2023 and is a leading voice in AI-driven pedagogy in Malaysia. Dr. Chuah, the world of research is changing rapidly with generative AI. We are eager to learn how we as ELT scholars can use these tools responsibly and effectively. Without further ado, let's cordially invite Dr. Chuah to deliver his presentation today. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Dr. Chuah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sharmini. Salam sejahtera dan warm welcome to everyone. Also, special thanks to ELTC for allowing me to be the first inaugural, the inaugural speaker for this series. And I hope this will spur more interest among ELT educators and also scholars to present their work through this webinar. So let me share my screen before I go further. This one. Okay. All right. So the title of my presentation for today, as indicated in the poster as well, will be AI as a research partner, new possibilities for ELT scholars. Just a quick disclaimer, I will not be doing too much hands-on today, too many hands-on examples today. It will be more like a teaser to tell you what are the things that AI can help you in your research journey, particularly from ELT perspective. So if you have any questions later on, you can also ask me, and I'll be sharing some resources as well for you to explore further. So you don't have to worry that you can't be following me some of these step-by-step guide or whatever. So just pay attention to what I'm going to share, right? But before I begin, before I go further, I would like to have a quick poll on this. I think there will be a poll popping up on your screen. How integrated is AI in your current research process? Just curious about, are you using a lot of AI tools in your research? And I put there, not just for writing. That means, are you using AI tools to help you with, for example, data collection, data analysis, and so on? So maybe take 1 or 2 minutes to answer this, 1 being very low, 5 being very high. So just curious about the composition of AI users that we have for today. So the poll is there, so you can quickly answer. Let me see. Are you able to click in the chat? Just as I expected, mostly we'll go for number 3. That's the the easier way to to kind of answer this. I think it's a good sign as well. It means that a lot of us are using it, moderately, and maybe you can enhance the usage further. But it's also interesting to see that none of you actually pick very low at the moment. So I assume, because we have about 90 plus here, I assume all of you have used AI at least at a very minimal level, maybe at level 2. But there are quite a number of you who also indicated high, right? High and very high. Okay, so those of you who have not responded, you can keep on responding, but I kind of get more than half already, the expected answer. So we are in 2026, right? We are in 2026, and let me just proceed first. We're in 2026, and when ChatGPT was launched in 2022, late 2022, about 3 years plus now, almost 4 years, we may think that AI is penetrating, in a slower pace, but actually it's quite fast. And regardless where you are, whether you're in ELT or in any other fields, AI is like the most widely spoken, topic, right? Or most widely discussed and debated topic around the world, not just in Malaysia. But what I noticed is that the usage among students outpace educators now. You can see the statistic by the recent survey by Cortex Survey in UK, based in UK, 2025. There was a recent one last year. 86% of students globally now use generative AI for some part of their academic work. Somehow the usage among students has increased significantly, and it has outpaced educators. So even in many contexts, in teaching and learning as well, you will realize that a lot of educators are struggling to cope with the impact of AI usage. Whether you like it or not, students are using it at a very young age now. Only recently, I had a session with teachers in primary school, and year 3 students are being taught on how to use ChatGPT to do activities like to transfer some topics into comic and all that. So I was quite surprised, because not every school is doing this, of course, even though gadgets are not allowed. But you can see how teachers are starting to feel the heat of not being the center of knowledge now, because students are treating AI as the main source of knowledge and to also learn something. So, but today's focus is more on research. And I think what we can focus on are these 4 areas that I would like to cover today, which is number 1, the shift, right? Whether we like it or not, we have to acknowledge that there's a shift and then go to the workflow. I think number 2 would be the one that you will get a little bit more information about the workflow in conducting your research with AI, not let AI, with AI, meaning we want to encourage this AI human partnership to make it more meaningful in our research. My point is always, when we work with AI, we want to make our research more impactful. We are not going to come up with some sloppy research just because we use AI. When we use AI, our research should be more enhanced or more impactful. That should be the goal, right? And then we are going to talk about ethics a bit, not so much, because I think the ethics topic is quite cliche. Everyone is talking about it, but no concrete action yet. But I will offer some ideas later on. And lastly, I'll give you a starter kit with 2 resources for you to start off your AI assisted study. Something for you to start if you have not started using AI in your research. Okay, that's why our goal for today is to amplify our ability to do research, not to replace our own judgment, right? Okay, so where ELT research lives right now. If you notice, if you are into, of course, if you're doing research at the moment, if you search anything about ELT, most topics are centered on AI. I can guarantee you the number of papers on AI in ELT is a lot. And almost every single day you will get new research done on how AI is impacting English language teaching and learning. Because it's language anyway. I still remember 2 years ago when ChatGPT came out, one of the first remarks given by my colleague was, oh no, language teaching is going to die. Like with AI, you don't need to teach language anymore because they can write an essay by giving a single click. You don't have to teach them all these cohesive markers. You don't have to teach them about thesis statement. You don't have to teach them about topic sentence because all this can be done easily with AI. After 4 years, the remark was, oh no, I need AI to help me in many, many ways. It's like the dependency on AI is not on the students alone, it's actually on teachers and also researchers. I can guarantee you, I can bet I can bet all of you, when you do your research papers or when you're trying to find some research articles, you will use a little bit of AI, right? Because you see that it can help you in doing some meaningful search. There's also a growing concern about all this intercultural communicative competence and also teacher agency and professional learning. The AI actually revealed a big gap, a disparity between those who know how to use it and those who do not know how to use it well. There's a gap now. And those who do not know how to use it well tend to be very resistant of trying to catch up because they know it's too fast. They can't catch up, so they just abandon everything. So you have this group of teachers or even educators who refuse to use it not because they are not interested, because it's too fast. And to them, it's too overwhelming to learn anything. So they just abandon the whole chase, and they will start saying that AI is bad for teaching and learning and so on, which is valid, by the way. And I have no issue with teachers who felt like AI is affecting a lot of areas in teaching and learning. But I think as long as they need to know what is the impact, the pro and cons, I think it should be fine, even if they don't want to use it. All right. But we'll hopefully by the end of these 2 hours, I can somehow persuade some who are a bit more resistant to try use AI. So it's not about whether we should use AI or not. I think it's high time for us to reflect on what has happened over the past 2-3 years, especially in the last 2 years. Things have changed a lot. Look at ChatGPT now. It's no longer the ChatGPT that we knew in 2022. ChatGPT in 2026, with version 5.5, for example, can do wonderful things, from infographic, from visuals, to even explaining complex theory, complex concept into simplified version so that we can understand it better. And when it comes to research, we can speed up a lot of process, not in terms of getting crappy things, but the speed of getting meaningful and impactful stuff. That's what I realized actually. If you realize when you search through all this AI, they actually give you better papers or better articles for you to review rather than some random articles that you found on website via Google and so on. So which we'll talk about it in a bit. So the question is it's more on, are we going to be an intelligent user of AI? We're not going to use AI to replace us. That's a silly thing to begin with. What we need to have in our mind now is, if I have AI, my ability to conduct a better research should be elevated, should be increased, should be enhanced, not allowing AI just to replace me so that I can create some crappy things, at speed. No, not really that kind of goal. The goal is to make sure that with AI, I can do better literature review, I can spend more time analyzing my data, I can spend more time making sure that all the arguments are justified. That should be the goal, right? And let's move on to the shift. Itu baru mukadimah. Ini baru nak mula-mula. Okay, the shift. So why the way we do research is no longer what it was? I think if you compare yourself, if you're active in research, year in, year out, if you are producing papers for various journals and all that, you realize before this, probably you are just producing it because of KPI for some of us, or probably because it's a requirement for graduation. I think that's the two main reasons that I always hear. The only, the two main reasons for someone to be heavily involved in research is either to fulfill the requirements of your organization or your graduation. If without these two requirements, I think most of us will not be involved in research, I think, right? That's the main thing. But there's a shift now. Because with AI, even if we do not have time or we don't even have requirements to fulfill, AI has allowed us to do better research in many areas, not just for publication, but to enhance our understanding. Sometimes we forget, research is not just about producing papers. Research is about enhancing our expertise in that area. If you claim yourself to be good in ELT, you should be knowing the current development in ELT. And AI can help us to keep tab with all these current changes. Before this, we have to deliberately go to library, to find books, to go to Google Scholar, type a keyword and try to find out all these things. And then we leave it there for a while. We don't even read it. And you know what I mean? Like you put a folder there, the folder stays on your desktop for like 1 year. The next year when you do your cleanup, the folder is still there. Because you just highlight everything, you don't really have time to read through. But with AI now, it can quickly summarize for you what are the key things that's happening now, and you can make better judgment. So instead of just randomly scouting for different type of papers, you can focus more on the high quality one, maybe the top 20 papers that AI can help you to screen with all this validated DOI, the URL and everything. You can sit down and dig deep on the knowledge that you are trying to enhance. At least when you are into that area, whatever area you're in, let's say, in my case, I'm more into educational technology or computer assisted language learning, I can go deeper into this field and trying to understand what's happening now actually, right? So AI should also help us in increasing our understanding, not just because of publication alone. So I think that's one thing that I always highlight whenever I do any workshop on research. I always highlight research is not just about writing. Writing is just part of the process. What matters is when you do research, it enhances your knowledge of the topic. At the same time, makes you criticize or critique your own work because you have done something before and then you realize you did it wrong because there's a new theory or maybe new perspective on certain theory, then you have to refine. That should be the way, right? The writing part is just an output of that thinking process that you're going through. The thinking process of conducting the experiment and so on, that would be the output of that, the process. Research is research of enhancing that process of understanding something, right? So AI is there. I'm not going to be reading all these stats, but if you kind of digest what happens ever since AI occurred, what I realize is there's two group of user. One that really utilize it well to find out, the most meaningful or the most important paper for them. And then another group that wants AI to do everything. In fact, the second group that I mentioned is very, very huge now. Every workshop I go to, I will have some teachers or even some educators who tell me, can you introduce me one app where I just put in the topic and then it can do all the literature review for me? Or can I have one software or one app where I click, I can get the whole paper done? So my response is always, if that AI can do, that 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 output, right, or that kind of writing, you are not needed in the first place. You should not be doing any writing or research because AI has done it anyway. You know what I mean? So if I need it to be on the research frontier, right, I don't need you to conduct the study. I don't need you to conduct the experiment because, like you said, AI can do it, right? But the right question would be, what if I can use AI to get me better results in terms of the analysis so that my analysis is better? That kind of mindset should be changed. Not a one-click solution, more on trying to help your understanding or your thinking process through AI. So AI is just helping you to ease the process, right? Not really to replace your judgment or your thinking. Now, that's a quick one. Then let's go to the workflow. I think you're more interested with this workflow. I will probably showcase some of the steps that you can try, and you have tried many software. My principle has always been try not to overwhelm yourself with so many apps. You go overwhelmed and people will be selling you all kinds of things. You hear this teacher say, oh, use this one because this one is very powerful. Use that one. That one is very powerful. In the end, you have a whole list of tools that you never really bothered to explore, or you only touch one or two. In my view, when it comes to research, process, you probably just need one or two tools. In fact, ChatGPT or Gemini or even Noble M will be sufficient to do most of the things. You don't have to pay for all this, more advanced, so-called advanced research tool like, all those, even in my list, like Elicit, Consensus and all that. If you don't want to, just stick to the ones that you already have is more than enough, right? So we'll be going through the 6 stages. Each stage will come with a little bit of guidance on how you use AI to help you, to assist you. First one, of course, is topic discovery, how to frame the problem, how to find a gap, and then how to use literature review. Number 2 is the most famous one. You go to any workshop, everyone is asking this, like, how can I speed up the process? Literature review, how to make sure the literature review is fast, and comprehensive. We'll take a look about that. And then we have reading and synthesis, of course, which is number 3 is related to number 2. And then we'll talk about methodological design in a way to help you decide which method is the best and so on. And then a little bit on analysis. I will tell you why number 5 should be slightly, don't use it too often, right? And number 6 is the last stage of just writing and refining, editing, proofreading, and so on, which you have been doing for many, many years, even before AI, right? Okay, let's go to the first stage, topic discovery. What I realized before AI, we rely a lot on our own reading. And whenever we read something from Google Scholar or someone send you some topic and so all that, we tend to have a very limited bird's eye view on the whole context. In a way, like we zoom into the problem immediately and think that we can do it. For example, somebody say, oh, you should do game-based learning for language teaching or English language teaching, for example. Use game to teach grammar. So you found a few articles from Google Scholar telling you that, okay, you should be doing this, right? But with AI now, AI can function more like a critique of your problem that you think you want to solve, right? So you can ask AI to kind of help you to get your mind straight, like, you can ask it to reframe vague topic. You can ask it to list some other angles and all that. I find this is really, really useful because I use this a lot. Sometimes when you were in the shower, you have some idea, or, a few hours before you sleep, instead of scrolling TikTok, you have some, that eureka moment. I think I want to do this. So you can quickly go to ChatGPT on your phone and just like, hey, ChatGPT, I think I want to do this topic. What do you think? Instead of asking it to write for you, you are having a conversation with this AI to kind of process what you have in mind first. You're not asking it to do it. You're not asking it to, to help you frame the problem, more on having a fruitful discussion. This kind of discussion is very hard to get, to be honest. Before the existing, apps like ChatGPT the existence of all these apps, I think you can't find a good colleague that can share this kind of thinking. They will be probably discussing where to eat more often than what kind of research topic is suitable for you. So instead of relying on your colleagues or your friends, you might as well rely on AI, right? For this kind of topic. So I do that frequently. And you'll be surprised. Even though they may not be, some people say if you talk to AI, it will fabricate things. Fine, because you are the one who's going to make the judgment. And if you notice it's fabricating something, if you can identify that this thing is fabricating something, you're already a level higher, because you know you're thinking about the whole process, not just taking everything at surface level. I think that's a very important skill, because if you can do that, that means you're already a level above what AI is producing. So do that kind of framing, and you can use this prompt when you get the slides later on. You can just try this out. Instead of asking it for the topic, you can, have a conversation, have a fruitful one to discover new topics. Like when you type in game-based learning for vocabulary teaching, this is like, so many studies have been done. Everyone is talking about the same thing, using game, more interest, fun, but nobody is digging deeper. So what if it's fun? Is it impactful? A lot of research actually says the learning outcome is actually minimal if you compare to the traditional method. So something for you to consider when you're talking with AI, and then you can discover more topic, and then you can narrow down and then start to read up further. Okay, so instead of just going to all these ChatGPT asking for a topic, you should be the one framing what you want to ask first, and then have that conversation with AI so that the AI can go, back and forth with you. In fact, if you use Claude, that would be better. If you have time to explore Claude AI, Claude, C-L-U-U-D-E, Claude has a better way of interacting with human because it's trained to be more humanistic. So you can see a different type of thinking. But no harm to try all, right? Sometimes you chat with ChatGPT, sometimes you chat with Gemini and all that on the same thing and see how they respond, right? Next would be stage number 2. Literature review. We normally start literature review with a mindset of trying to understand the research topic or trying to understand the research problem deeper. That should be the goal. But a lot of people treat literature review like a requirement. Talk to anyone who is doing postgraduate, they will tell you literature review is dreading, I don't know what to write and all that. So because the mindset was they just want to dump everything in literature review so that it looks good, so that it looks like you are reading a lot. If you frame it in a way like you are using literature review to understand the research problem better, to understand the topic better, AI can help you to really structure it well. So it's not just about completing the literature review, in whatever format you like, more on helping you to really understand the topic. Using the same example just now, if you talk about gamification in teaching vocabulary, by right, you should find out all the studies that have shown, different results. Those who say it's good, those that say is bad, and so on. So you just compare these two. So you can use tools now. Before this, you have to read probably one by one, right? You have to, find one article, read about it and all that. Now that we have all these AI tools to help you, the process is faster to curate, to compile, but the judgment is faster not because AI is doing it for you, because it helps you to structure the list of articles easier. It's easier for you to filter and to evaluate or to review, right? So your job now is more like a reviewer of the output first, and then whichever that you think is more relevant, you go deep. It should be that way, not just taking everything given by AI, and then you just put it into your literature. I have seen this many times, even in research, work by students. So they just compile, copy and paste. But when you ask them, they cannot answer why this study was cited because they did not read that paper. They just treat the AI as, the all-knowing being rather than, an assistant. If you treat AI as assistant should be just assisting you, right? You'll be the one who review and decide, right? So there are many apps that have been promoted. Of course, the focus for me today, I think I want to highlight more on Noble LM because we are using Noble LM a lot for generating content like infographics, slides, and all that. If you use it for research, it's actually very, very good. Of course, you also have Cloud AI. I'll show you a bit. Consensus and Research Rabbit, I'll let you explore on your own because these two are quite easily accessible. You can just search it later and then, try it. Research Rabbit is free. Research Rabbit is good to find connected papers. One paper, it will lead to another paper, another paper. That's why it's called Research Rabbit because the rabbit hops one to another paper, right? So let me go to this part first because it's related to reading literature review. Because before you do literature review, you kind of need to read deeper and do a bit of synthesis. And Noble AM can do this really, really well. Why do I like Noble AM in this case? Because you control the sources of information. If you use generic LLM, large language model like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, if you don't control the sources, they can randomly pick anything from the database or from online sources and then mash it up and then show it to you like it's very convincing, right? We don't have access to real paper. Sometimes they just put the citation there, even though the citation is complete. But when you go deeper, the paper cannot be found. So you can't read the full paper. One thing good about Noble AM is you can find the paper on your own first if you want to. Then you just upload it and then you do the synthesis and reading. So for this part, I'll just quickly show you how it works while you are, looking at my slide. This one. Let me just, are you able to see it? Yeah, I think so. Okay, this is one example that I have for my Noble AM. Obviously, we normally use Noble AM for, generating all this content like slide deck, infographic especially. You can see all kind of infographic all over social media. But it's a very powerful research tool. The first thing you need to do in order to make sure that your usage of Noble AM for research is good is to ensure the sources is good. Noble AM function exactly like how machine learning works, which means if you put garbage in, garbage out. So if your sources are weak, right? If you put all the weak sources, weak means random web pages, random blogs, you random video and all that, you just put it in like this, for example, then whatever you generate in terms of the analysis or the literature review will be weak. Garbage in, garbage out. So to ensure that your literature review is meaningful and impactful, you can do filtering here first. You can use the deep research function to find the papers. And the tip is always to put the word from reputable journal. For example, find articles about ELT in Malaysia, for example, from reputable journals. Okay. And then you click submit. It will try its best. It not 100%. It will try its best to go for the major publishers like Taylor and Francis, Springer Link, all these major publishers of academic publications. So you kind of force it to go for that first. You can see some sample here. Occasionally, you will get something from ResearchGate because they couldn't access the full paper on the web, in the actual web. So they help you find from ResearchGate. Bottom line is you have to filter it first here, very quickly. If you don't want to do it on your own, then you can just prompt in the middle here, go through all sources. Let me just stick here. Go through all sources and flag those that are not from academic journal. For example, you can do this. So what happened is Noble AM will help you to screen all these papers that if you do this random kind of search, then it will flag those that are not from academic journals. So for the first thing for you to do is to ensure your sources are good, because if your sources are good, your output will be good. If your sources are bad, you cannot expect it to do wonderful things for your, for your review or for your synthesis, right? So it's working a bit. And while waiting for it to search, one thing that you can try, because the toolkit later on, the starter kit that I'm going to give you later on in the slides has all this. You don't have to worry. But since it's recorded, you can also follow the recording later on. First thing that you need to do is also to configure the chat. You go to this configuration, configure it, the default one, go to custom, make sure you put something like this. You can change in your own way. You can say respond at expert level. You can even specify the field, respond as an expert in ELT, for example, then verify your arguments, cite all sources in APA, and so on. Why is it important? Because when you configure this well, you will see the output in the middle, like mine. I have everything in APA format. In your case, if you don't have this, it will not list out in APA format, and you probably find it hard to find those papers, right? So this is flagging. I have reviewed the provided sources and flagged ones that are not published in academic journals. I've categorized them. So books and book chapter, these are all books, right? And these are all conference papers, and these are all preprints. So first thing to do is, of course, to try your best to screen all this. You see all this block should be removed from your sources. This is a demo example that I'm showing you. I just add everything in, and you can see why sometimes when you do your literature review is kind of weak because you're referring to sometimes predatory journals from somewhere that you don't know where, or some website or blog. So first thing to do is to always do this and then quickly remove them from your list. How to remove? Just right click and remove source, or just click and remove. All right. Okay. I'm not going to wait this because it's going to take some time. So I'm going to stop this. So you can do that. Once your filtering is okay, once you have configured this well, next thing you need to do is you can do whatever you want. Let's say I want to do a quick literature review matrix. Okay. So create a literature review matrix for the sources. Focusing on, let's say you are looking for methods, key findings, and potential gap. Okay, let's say you just want to focus on this three things first. You want to see whether the topic that you're looking at, in this case is self-regulated learning, for example, has something for you to dig deeper or for you to go further in your research, right? And then you just click submit. You'll be surprised because of the screening that you have done and also the configuration that you have done, you will get the table nicely formatted for you in APAs, at least with some APA citation there, instead of just the number. Because the usual one that you get is the number, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. You will see the number, right? At the end. You see mine is different from yours because I have configured it nicely. So whenever I have this, I know where is the source. I can even get to the actual source. So everything is verified. I don't have to worry about fabricated papers, right? So if you scroll down, it's still synthesizing, addressing the gap, and then you get your table out, right? Because these are only 3 aspects. And then you'll be wondering, how am I going to use this? So there are many ways to use this. First, you can immediately save it to note, and then your note will appear here. If you click on this, you get your note here. All right. But I prefer this. Convert to source. When you convert to source, your notes of this table just now has become one of your sources, which is this one. Let me just untick. Everything. And then you will see the one that is synthesized is, where is this? I saw here, this one. Okay, this is the one that you just synthesized. This one, right? Self-regulated learning, so I have it. So what happened is, if you go to your sources, don't tick the rest. What you do is you just tick this one, right? If you need to generate any report or slides or infographic whatsoever, let's say if you go for a slide, it will just refer to this table. Okay, that's one way to use it. Or you can even export it directly to Doc. That's also another way. Or export to Google Sheets. So if you export to Google Sheet, you have everything nicely done in table format. Sorry, accidentally pull it. If you can't see it well, then you can just use this wrap text, right? And then you have your matrix done. Okay, so this file that you just generated from NobelM, you can use ChatGPT, you can use Cloud to do further things, further analysis, further review, scoping review, whatever you want, because this helps a lot in saving time so that you don't go for the weaker papers, you go for the good ones. See what I mean? This is what I meant by when you use AI, AI helps you to screen the process faster. Not asking you to use AI to replace your thinking, just to write the literature review. No, more on helping you to decide what paper should you be reviewing. All right, and this table helps you to decide because it tells you what is the important one. Of course, this is demo. I will not be writing the literature review for you, but just to let you know, once you have it here, and the best part is, you can link with Gemini. So let me go to Gemini now. I just have to go to Gemini. I click the plus sign. I go to NobelM. I will be able to add the one that I have done just now. Click this one, add. This is where I can start, focusing. Pick, let's say I can say like pick the, pick the best 10 papers in this notebook and write the first draft of literature review here. Or you can even say one para. If you want to just have a draft first to know what it is, one study, one paragraph. Make sure you include methods, findings, and gap, for example. Oh, I should have changed it to thinking, by the way. Whenever you want to do this kind of thing, please change it to thinking mode. I have accidentally picked fast, but never mind. You get what I mean. So when you link it with your Nobula M, right, then it will do it for you. Go for the thinking mode. If you want to have more advanced analysis, you go for Pro. Pro usually suitable if you have more than 30 papers, right? And you go for Pro because the advanced part will help you. I think all teachers have Dilemma account, and if you use Dilemma account, you can also access Pro, even though there's a limit, but at least you can still use it. Now it's reading the notebook. I don't have to upload any papers because everything has been uploaded to the Nobula M. I can just call anything here, and my review is being drafted at the moment. One paragraph, one study. One paragraph, one study. All right. So this helps you to kind of do the quick filtering process so that you can write better literature review. You don't just ask AI to write and suddenly you see all the citation at the back and you don't even know what is this. At least now, if I ask you what this Green and SVido did, so at least you can answer because it kind of helped you to summarize. Of course, I did not limit the year, because for this demo, I did not limit the year. You can also limit the year. You can say from 2025 to 2026, whatever you want, right? So this kind of AI integration, I think it's important not for you to just make a shortcut. It actually enhances your the quality of your review because you're not reviewing some random stuff. You actually use AI to filter and go for the quality ones. I think that matters a lot in this process. Okay, all right, let me move on so that we don't take too much time. So this all here, right? This is an example. For free account, you can upload up to 50. If you have pro account, you can upload to 300. But my advice for you, Nobula M function a bit more like human. If you give too many information or too much information or too many articles, it will not be able to read everything one go. So the ideal size of number of paper or sources in one notebook, it's roughly 30. So if you have a lot of things to review, you might want to chunk it up. Like, just now if you see mine, 2.2 self-regulated learning, I have another one, 2.1 self-regulated learning in Malaysia. So you chunk it up. That helps you to get better synthesis because even if you upload 300, it will not be able to, to filter all 300. All right. So that is one tip for you. Next is the methodology design part. The methodology part, I think, more on justifying your method. I use this a lot as well to critique your own research design, not to ask it to suggest only. I know a lot of us, when it comes to AI, we love to ask AI to suggest, like, if I want to do this, what would you suggest? I think it's fine. That is the first layer. Ask it to suggest, like, I want to study, the relationship or the correlation between game-based element, game-based learning, all this element or component with, let's say, self-regulated learning. What are the things that I need to pay attention to? The variable, whatnot, and then what is the best methodology to deal with it. So it will suggest, but it's up to you to decide, after reading the kind of suggestion that given. But to me, I prefer you make the judgment first. Like, I want to use, let's say I want to use case study, I want to use action research for my in-class observation of my student behavior after this intervention and so on. What do you think? The keyword is, what do you think? Not help me do it. A lot of people, when they use AI, write for me, do it for me. It should be, what do you think first? You are the one who make the call, to proceed further. Okay. So these are some sample that you can, some sample instruction that you can give. For example, list 5 threads, sampling frame, draft a survey instrument and all that. Now, drafting, even though I put here, invent a validated one should be avoided. You can still ask it to draft, all right? But you need to give a specific framework or at least a reference. It will draft for you. But the problem with a lot of users is they just immediately ask it to do everything. and then they just present and then say, okay, this is validated. I think it's wrong because validation requires a few steps, right? And but the first draft can be done as a guide. Then you find all this literature to help you to support your decision on using some of those items and so on. Okay, and it says here, justify a sample size by inventing power calculation. This happens a lot at postgraduate level recently, because a lot of students, they couldn't find the right number of participants or sample size, so they just made it up. So AI can come up with all kind of weird justification. They say my sample size is 3 because all kind of reason. Like, sometimes it's very funny to read because they made it up. Like one example, qualitative study. So the AI suggested, like, okay, justify why I can only pick 3 because this student cannot find more than 3 due to some reason. And the AI say, oh no, in Samarahan, there's only a handful of this ethnic group, and then this ethnic group, all kind of reason, and only 3. So when I read it, I was like, this is definitely AI, because a normal human being will not be able to, judge human as as that detail, up to the level where you can go up to the skin color and everything. I think too obvious is made up. All right, so something for us to avoid. Then we have data analysis. This is the part that I told you just now should be, how to put it, should be tread cautiously. Yeah, in a way. So don't use it. Don't use it to how to put it. Even though I say this, I think a lot of you have done this a lot. Yeah, because whenever you have a data, you will ask AI to help you. The reason is like this. The way LLM works, large language model works, is whatever you upload will be used. Whether you disagree or you agree to the statement of sharing your data, it will be used because it's there. If you upload it there and then you put it for 1 year, it's even worse because it's still accessible there. So they will keep it. The problem is like this. It's not about they use your data for different reason and all that. It's just that whenever you run your analysis, you will realize that your analysis is like a bit saturated because AI cannot go beyond what is known. So because you already uploaded the data, and let's say it has done the first level checking, and then the conclusion is A. So the next time you run it again, you can't get something new because it's stuck at A level. The A level means the decision or the conclusion of the A in the first level of analysis. So if you don't delete, for example, it will keep on bringing up the old things. Same thing like the memory, how memory works in LLM. If you don't delete your old memory, you will find that whatever you ask for activity, whenever you ask for activities and so on, it will be the same, right? Because it kept reminding itself to refer to the old one. So to get new ideas, to get fresher ideas, you need to delete your chat actually. So like my case, I have a weekly cleanup process. So every week I will clear all the chat. If I use ChatGPT or whatever it is, I will just clear. Because if you don't clear, it kept on, referring to the old files, right? So you might not get fresher things. That's one. Number two, when you upload your data for analysis, AI is kind of trained to try its best to justify for you. And some of the justification is, like I said just now, fabricated or weak, right? And don't use it for analysis, I would say. But if you just need to have a first level checking, like you can say like, okay, I have this data at the moment. If you don't want to give data, that's the best actually. Don't give data, give your own analysis. I've done the analysis. These are the results. I would like you to evaluate or review. Do you think this result is strong enough for me to, to proceed further with my, let's say, correlation analysis and so on? If you use it as a consultant to check, I think it's okay. But if you ask it to analyze everything and you just take everything as a face value, it's rather dangerous, right? Rather dangerous. Even SPSS, or all these tools like, Jamovi, that analysis, or even in NVivo, all these tools, when you use it, you don't even trust 100%. Some people still have to manually to be sure, right? Same thing here. If you use AI to do it for first pass checking and all that, I think it's fine. You still need some verification. There's a growing trend in ALT using AI to do thematic analysis, content analysis, discourse analysis, which is very popular in ELT. Go and gather all this conversation or writing, and then start to use AI to do all this analysis, content analysis especially, because thematic you have to interview and all that, right? The problem is you will after a while, right, you will see the coding style or the way it uses the the markers and everything are quite similar. So in the end, your output somehow feels like whatever data you fit in, it feels the same. The result feels the same. And imagine if a lot of people are doing this and one guy publish it first and you try to publish later, you'll be probably flagged for plagiarism because similar, right, in terms of the ideas and all that. Or if you're talking about postgraduate studies, then your idea and another person's idea could be similar, and then you lose the novelty, right? So yeah, you have to really use this cautiously, right? Then writing editing. This is also another popular one, to use AI to write or to do a bit of editing. If you want to edit your work for writing, I would suggest you rely rely more on either ChatGPT or Claude. Do not use Gemini. Gemini is known to be enterprise-based, actually. Google is very enterprise-based. They focus a lot on enterprise before they venture into education, because they see another gold mine in education. But if you realize, most of the features that they introduce are largely enterprise-oriented. Notebook LM, for example, was created at first in 2022, late 2022, for businesses to do market research. But they found that not many takers, and educators are using it more. That's why suddenly Notebook LM becomes more educator-based. You have all these infographics, slide deck, and all this. But in general, if you read carefully, their focus is more on businesses. Same thing with Gemini. Whenever you ask Gemini to do a lot, and you see the language is more, I would say, too casual sometimes. It cannot really write formal things. If you ask ChatGPT, the quality is slightly better. And if you want to make it even more, formal or more academic, Claude will be your way. The reason being not the Claude itself, is the Claude skills, right? So for those who have never tried Claude before, a quick one, since I have time. So let's go to Claude. The only issue with Claude is if you use the free one, you can reach the limit quite fast. That's why I don't really encourage you to use this every day, like, to do simple things. You use it for really critical things, like to check your writing, to check your draft and all that. And when you check your draft, as mentioned in my slide just now, you don't ask it to write, use it as a coach. Try not to treat it as a co-author. In fact, most journals do not like that anyway, or most publications do not like that anyway. Use it as a coach. You see, tell the AI your research question and ask a different word, pick one, and then rewrite in your own word. You are the one who rewrite, right? Not asking AI to write it for you. You ask it to check and all that, and then you are the one who type it out first, because that helps to orient your thinking process as well. If AI can produce everything very fast, you are not thinking, you don't understand actually, right? Because you're not reading what you have written. So it can kill your understanding on your own topic. That's the worst thing, right? You are writing a research that you are supposed to know more because you are the one carrying it out. But suddenly when people ask you, you yourself do not know, it's a telltale sign that you don't know what you're doing, right? So you get what I mean? Use it as a coach. And in fact, over time, you don't need it anymore, because you can see that your writing becomes better. And you will know, like, if I want to write for this journal, I know this is the expectation. This is how I should write for my introduction, because this journal prefer this kind of style, because AI has trained you. And while you're training AI, you can also train yourself, right? So one thing about Claude is, the specialty about Claude is actually Claude skill. So if you go to customize here, there's a skill here, right? Skill. So what I like about this thing is, not only you can learn from it, you can also teach Claude to understand your way of writing. For example, this one, I have my own writing style embedded here. So whatever I generate in Claude, it will be personalized to me. When you type the same prompt that I gave you in your Claude account, it will be different from mine, because my output is aligned to the way I write, the way I structure my sentences, the way I start my paragraph and all that, so I can train it to understand this. So this is something that you can try later on when you have time. It's very easy. Free user can do this. Just sign up for a free account. You go to customize, go to skills, go to plus, go to create skill, create with Claude. This one. Okay, for those who are blur, don't worry, because this session is supposed to be teasing you. So you go to Claude.ai and then create a go to skills, create skill, create with Claude. The reason is we need to create with Claude because Claude can guide us, right? Let's create a skill together using a skill, create a skill. First ask me, you don't need this. You just immediately say what you want. I want to create a skill for my writing style. All right. This is how I normally write. You can use and shift enter if you want to, or else you can just continue it. Like for example, number 1, I use a lot of cohesive markers, for example, if you want it to be like that. Number 2, I don't write long sentences. Number 3, I prefer, let's say, local examples. Right. Number 4, I don't use M dashes and Oxford comma, for example. These are the telltale sign of AI writing, right? Oxford commas. And then what else? Number 5, I always begin my writing with a joke, for example. So if you define it that way, every time you ask it to write something, it will try to follow your preference. And in fact, because it's a skill, every time everything is generated, it will read your skill first, right? So then you just click submit, and Claude will generate the skill for you. You just save it as your skill. This is one way to help you to personalize Claude. In ChatGPT, you have custom GPT, but it's not as powerful as this because custom GPT is designed in such a way where it may not be triggered when you do certain things. Like for example, when you ask it to write, it will not follow. It will kind of remember the essence or the essential things about you, right? But the writing part, not so much. Claude has a specialty in LLM. It always read the skill first. It's like, okay, now you want me to help you, but before I help you, let me go through the skill first. Okay, now that I'm ready, shoot me, right? That's how Claude works. A lot of people don't like Claude because Claude asks a lot of questions, like now. You see? Claude loves to ask questions because Claude is trained in such a way to understand us better before it can produce output. And when it understands us better, the output is better, right? So if you don't like to answer this, you can just ask it to decide. But just for now, I'm just going to just answer like this, all right? One reason why people don't like this because all this will take up your credits, the limit because Claude has a very limited server. So it kind of limit with 5-hour window. Every 5 hours you have to wait. If you reach the limit, you have to wait for 5 hours, right? So I'm just going to pick anything. If I write, you should read. Yeah, I'm just because I don't have enough time to demo one by one just to show you how it works. Okay, go ahead and paste them. You see? Even one. So if you have your own example, you can even paste it in and then it will start to learn how you write and all that. Then eventually Claude will write like you. Once you're done, right? Once it's done, you just save the skill. And then if you go to skill later on, you will see it here. Okay, you just have to save the skill. And how to put it? If you need to update it, you just have to click this one and edit with Claude. Let's say you have new style now, you want to add in, you just edit with Claude and then you can, just change it. Okay, so you will improve. You can do many things. I also created skill for like systematic literature review. I also do it for APA referencing. I also do it for DBP. I help DBP create one for Bahasa Melayu because Claude has a very poor Bahasa Melayu. So if you install this skill, you'll be able to write in Bahasa Melayu better because it has this. All this later on, you can just search for Claude skill, DBP translator. You'll be able to find it. Like if you want Claude skill, DBP, then you will be able to see my page. All right, go to my page. Just click the skill and then download this one, and then go to Claude here, create skill, upload a skill, upload that file just now. So you can also upload other people's skills. So if you don't have any idea to use your own skill, you find other people's skill. Like a famous one, this one, Humanizer. This is also very popular. In fact, the Humanizer works really, really well. When you turn it on, it doesn't sound AI. But because I already have my own style, which is not really AI style, so I don't need this. But if you need this, you just go to Blader Humanizer. Go to Google, just search for Blader Humanizer, and then you will be able to get the Humanizer skill. So just click skill, click download, and then go to this part, create skill, and upload. Okay, now let me show you how it works since I have a bit more time here. Okay, you see, every time if you use ChatGPT or whatever, when you give a prompt, it will immediately come up with an output. Claude has a bit different behavior. Claude really functions like an assistant that tries to understand you. So if I say write 2 paragraphs about AI in education, you will see the first thing it will do, it will be reading my skills. This one, pay attention to this part. Oh, yeah, it's very fast because I asked it to do it. Reading. See, these sentences has nothing to do with AI style because this is how I write in a way lah. Okay, right. Let's say longer. Write longer. You don't see any, M dashes or whatever because I kind of train it to do it. Okay. Right. Okay. If I want to push it further, let's say I want to push it further, include citations from, let's say, reputable journals in APA format from 2022 to 2025. Now, this one, it will do heavy work. It will start to search. You will see searching now. And if you read what it's doing, it actually tries to read everything. So it knows that this is a different paper, try to search. And many things going on now, right? So now it starts to write. Okay, so just to show you how it works. And but of course, this one just a demo. By right, when you want to do this, you need to have a better prompt, like a more specific one. This is too general. So, but at least you can see how Claude is a bit different from ChatGPT and Gemini when it comes to academic use. All right. And if you read this, right, it doesn't sound AI so much because I train it. All right, so there's one way to kind of help you. As a draft, yeah, don't treat it blindly. You still have to read, you still have to edit and work on it, right? Okay, so that's Claude. Let's go back to my slide when it comes to this one. So use AI to help you with this, to do a bit of review. I think now I can see that a lot of people can get their paper published, in a more, I wouldn't say easy. You kind of get higher frequency of acceptance because of AI, not AI helping you to do it, AI help you to check, right? You can prompt AI to say like, okay, I want to publish in this journal. You give the link to the journal. I want to publish in this journal. Can you go through the scope and previous papers and tell me whether my manuscript is up to the standard? So AI can be very frank. It will say like, your paper is lousy. Please don't attempt this journal, try another journal. Then you know you are targeting the right one. You see what I mean? Because those days, we don't have this. You are hitting in the dark. You just randomly submit to anywhere, hoping that it will be accepted, right? Right now, you have AI to help you to kind of become an assistant. Help me check whether this paper has a potential to be published in, certain journal. Because when it goes through previous papers and all that, you will kind of know that, oh, okay, this journal requires certain kind of expected structure or maybe input or data or result that your paper doesn't have. So might as well don't try it, try somewhere else, right? But again, the final judgment is from you. It's just that you have an assistant who is kind enough for you to help you with these kind of filtering, right? So that can work as well. Okay, so these are some other things that you can do. What this means for ELT especially, you can do a lot of things. You can analyze classroom discourse faster now. You can have a first checking. You can even have material analysis, learner corpora. You can do a lot of things with this. I'm doing on the IBAN language for corpus linguistic. Before we have all these tools, we have to scrap the web, like, very, very tedious work. Now with AI, we can scrap all these IBAN language materials and everything and quickly compile it for us to run our own analysis for the corpus part. So, helps a lot. And then you also have bilingual writing now because of the translation. Those days you have to rely on Google Translate and different types of tools. Now with AI, you can have the first level translation quite fast and you can do the comparison. So something for you to consider, right? Let's go to part 3 for ethics. This is where the conversation gets harder. And every time we talk about research with AI, whether it's human AI partnership or fully rely on AI, how to put it, this is the hot topic, right? And everyone will be like asking the same question. Okay, but before we go there, just a quick one, what the research evidence show. Now, I compiled this from the major magazine, but if you go for recent papers, I have found about 4 or 5 papers that actually study this kind of trend. The number of retraction or number of rejection in terms of the published papers is getting more and more. Like you take a look at the statistic by Forbes in 2023, 10,000 retractions. The funny thing is, when these papers are retracted, they have gathered, a lot of papers have gathered like thousands or hundreds of citations. So can you imagine hundreds of thousands of papers are citing sources or research which are, fabricated. And then we put it in our literature review saying that, okay, this study was done and all that. So it's quite scary actually. Meaning, one of those papers that you review in your literature review chapter could be one of those being retracted after that. Because whenever you put in literature review, right, you don't check back. Sometimes the paper has been retracted. Retracted means it's no longer there because it's fabricated. There's one paper recently about the AI usage. This paper says, this paper's from, I think it's Nature. It's a very top journal, right? You'll be surprised. Published in Nature, this paper claimed that the usage of ChatGPT and all this enhance active learning, something like that, right? So everyone cited this paper for the past 2 years, and it was retracted. Can you imagine you cite this paper to justify your research, and then that paper was actually fabricating the results? See the impact of this, the ripple effect. So it's quite scary. And my experience as managing editor for some journal, even in our university, when I kind of receive all this manuscript, when I want to assign to reviewer, right? And when I read all this, I can sense they are using AI. Like because the data and the efficient doesn't match. So when I wrote back, for example, asking them to give real data, a lot of them cannot provide. So most journal will do the first filtering, and because I'm just the managing editor, so I will pass it to the chief editor. Chief editor will have the final say. So most of it rejected, meaning your paper is rejected not because of AI writing, because your result sounds suspicious or you cannot provide evidence. Now, most journals ask for data now. They ask you to provide the actual data set for them to cross-check. If you do qualitative, for example, they will ask for transcript at times just to verify. Because when they read it, they kind of know like, okay, something suspicious about this result, so they will verify. Not because of AI language, right? Same thing with, this retraction watch. Like they have their own filter. They don't rely on 30in actually. They have their own filtering system, and there's so many being flagged. And 24% people will outright plagiarize. This is the worst trend now. Cornell detected this a lot in preprints. What happened is like this: because of this KPI pressure and whatever, some researchers, they download one paper. Let's say this paper was done in China, usually in another language. Let's say in Chinese. So what happened was, because they knew that when this paper is in Chinese, the indexing, everything will not have in English. So if you check on plagiarism, checker, it will not have any match because this one is in Chinese and this one is in your English, for example. So there will be no match. So they're very clever. So what happened was, they translate all these papers in Chinese into English, maintain most of it just by manipulating some of the data. And then they send it to all these journals because of AI, because AI speed it up, right? So what happened was, when you go through the review and everything, sometimes we will detect it earlier. So yeah, getting more and more actually. So don't do this. Don't use AI for the wrong reason. Use it wisely because it can really improve the quality of your research and writing actually. I myself felt it. If I compare what I wrote like 10 or 20 years ago and now, I can see that for the past 2 years, the quality has increased. Not because AI helps me to write, it's because AI helps me to decide better in what kind of way I should be justifying, for example, or what kind of analysis I should be putting into my paper. Don't just rely on some random mean or standard deviation only, for example. I can rely more on other ideas, right? So, but bottom line is, all these reports, None of them actually say it's rejected because you use AI to write. To be honest, like, it's not about AI language. The concern is using AI to fabricate data. That is the worst, right? So it means when your paper got rejected, outright rejected, it's either it doesn't match the scope or too weak in terms of your data or whatever. Very rarely, you will get a reply saying that your paper is rejected because it's too AI. Unless they do the checking after that. But very rare, right? They either say it's not fitting to the scope, or they say your result is not extensive enough, too superficial, and all that. So AI, in terms of AI language itself, is not really a key factor in this. Just don't use it to fabricate data, to fabricate literature, to fabricate different kind of things, including interview data. A lot of people, they create fake interview data, try to do thematic analysis. They create the data first, and then they do the thematic analysis, which is wrong, right? You should be transcribing the real data that you get from your respondents. So, but if let's say you have done all the analysis on your own, you did your own synthesis and everything, but you still ask AI to write the whole paper for you, is that cheating? Yes or no? You can reflect this. You did your own, you have done your own analysis, you run through all this statistical software, you check through validation, you consulted 3 experts all say okay, your result is okay, and then you all read all these papers, and then you have put it in the table nicely, then you give it to AI, ask AI to write the whole paper. Is that cheating or not? All right, so something for you to consider. To be honest with you, most scholars, even seasoned editors for all these academic journal, will tell you it's fine, because the data analysis is done by you, not by AI, and most of the reading and everything is done by you. The draft of your reading. AI just help you to polish the writing part. It's the same way how most of us, before AI, will tell people like, okay, I think your writing is crappy. Can you pay someone to write it for you? Same thing, right? Like, because you have done your analysis, you have done the draft, and then your writing is crappy. Those days, someone will advise you, just pay someone to write it for you in terms of the structure, as long as the data is come for you. And it's gray area, right? And some scholars will say it's fine because you are not asking it to fabricate or whatever. You are just asking help for writing. What if you don't have to pay someone? AI can do it for you. In terms of writing, I'm talking about writing. So something for us to think about. I cannot give you a yes, no answer, but I personally think the draft should come from us first. The first draft, at least the raw draft, then ask AI to come up with the first draft, and then the subsequent one should be you polishing it. Not completely 100% AI. If you want to go AI, maybe 50-50. That's why some journal, they are very clear about this. You can ask AI to enhance your writing, but you can't use AI to do your analysis and everything, right? So yeah, so that's something for you to reflect, yeah? So this one here, if AI help you draft a paragraph, who is the author of that paragraph? All major publishers say you cannot use AI as co-author. There was some controversial paper before this. I find it weird because the one who approved it, it's the chief editor of, or one of the best journals in the world. Like, it's a Q1 journal, and if you allow it, it's a bit weird to say that it's wrong. There was one paper where this author put ChatGPT as the second author, and it was published as the second author, and then subsequently all major publishers say no, you cannot do that. So now I think that paper has been retracted. Funny enough, because that paper was highly cited as well due to the ChatGPT thing. So now what happened is, most journals will ask you to disclose if you use AI extensively for more than just correcting writing or grammar or whatever. If you use AI to help you with writing, right? If you read the terms in all major publishers, it will say you don't have to declare. Like, if you just fix one paragraph, or if you just edit some language, you don't have to declare explicitly. But my advice or my suggestion, just declare. Just say in your, when you submit your paper, this is talking about paper publication, yeah? Well, in your letter or even in your disclosure, you just disclose. right? You just disclose that AI has been used. Specifically what AI, you can say Claude. You say you use Claude to improve the writing flow or the coherence of the writing and so on. Yeah, that can be done. If you use it for other things, you can declare as well, but it depends on the journal to decide. Because some journal, they do not accept, let's say you use AI to generate visual. They don't want AI generated visual. Sometimes we have this diagrams or figures that we use AI to generate. It looks nice, right? You may think it's nice, but some journal actually they disallow that. So you might want to check. But some journals are fine, So yeah, this is what I meant by you have to cross-check with the disclosure. Some, you put the framework, you use AI to generate. Some journal actually reject that. You have to come up with your own or ask someone to redraw. You cannot use AI generated stuff. Not all journal, you have to read the terms, but I know some. In fact, most of those in Springer, they don't like that. So unless you can prove that you have done significant changes to it, right? Using Photoshop or something, as long as you can prove that you have done some changes. If it's organically from AI generated, because the visual from AI, even though you think it's unique, sometimes it's quite copyrighted. So they don't want to be in trouble, right? Okay, hallucination issue, I think we know this, but getting better and better now. AI is like less, fabricating things. They don't really fabricate a lot of things because of the control that we have just now. The Noble IM, for example, if you put all your sources there for Noble IM, then the risk of hallucination is lower because it's there, right? You put the sources in. If you ask Gemini, especially, Gemini is like a dreamer. I always say Gemini is a dreamer. Even though you give the link, wherever, it loves to hallucinate. The paper is A, and then you were like writing something about B. I don't know why, because one of my research area is comparing LLM since the beginning. So I have a huge data set of comparing ChatGPT output, Gemini output over the years, over this different version. And Gemini has consistently misbehaved. Even until now 3.1, even if you ask it to write in a formal way, it will misbehave. You don't trust me, you can try. You keep forcing it to write in formal way. You can still trace some very informal writing or very conversational tone, or starting to hallucinate. Like you are talking about A, suddenly it's writing about B, right? Okay. Next is, I think this is something for us to consider. Whose knowledge is in the model, is the bias thing. This is why I love Noble LLM, because you can control the sources. If you ask all these major LLM, large language models like ChatGPT, Claude and all this, they rely a lot on Western literature, right? Western materials and all this. So very Anglo-American. So whenever you need to get some perspective on local context or, within our region, you will get very limited things. And then you start to say, oh, very limited studies done in this area. Actually, there are a lot. It's just that when you use AI filter it because they were trained in mainly Anglo-American texts, right? That's why some students, they prefer DeepSeek or Quen, China-based. Because for China-based LLM, they use China dataset. They don't use American dataset. So a lot of China dataset like DeepSeek and all that has a lot of information in Asia. So when you search anything or ask anything about Asia or in DeepSeek, you get more example, richer data in terms of the statistic and everything, because it actually focus more on that. Okay, but now because you have real-time search, all this ChatGPT and everything, it will try to search. The only problem is if they search, usually they will just go for the first few. They don't go for all, as compared to the one that they were trained, the huge data set that they were trained in. So yeah, to be careful about this. If you want to have more all this, Asian or whatever context, don't rely on ChatGPT or Gemini to do it. You have to find out the articles, or you can use other tools like, Google Scholar is still the best actually. Google Scholar is still the best. You just have to type in the context and then you download all the papers and you put it in Noble M, right? That's better than using ChatGPT and Gemini to directly ask for the context, okay? Because of the bias. All right, next, let me see what's next. Yeah, privacy. This is the part where I think a lot of us don't know this already, but I still see a lot of teachers sometimes accidentally upload all the private information. When you want to do dashboard, I saw some, they want to do dashboard for their classes because they think it's easily done. So they just upload the whole data set with the student parent number, parents detail, phone number, IC, all this up. Even though we know that we have kind of like disabled, don't use my data for training, you don't know what they will do with it, right? So whenever you want to upload something up online to any platform, actually, doesn't matter whether it's AI or not, you should remove all of these details, like unnecessary ones like IC number or whatever. Just keep it to the important details that you want to use for your dashboard or for your app and so on, because you don't know what's going to happen. And I think one of the reasons why Malaysia is very famous for scammers is because of this. You go to social media sometimes, you see all these parent teacher groups on Facebook. They happily share all this Excel or Google Sheets with the phone number and all that. Sometimes with password of the Delima. They give the Delima email and password together, thinking that it's safe, because it's in a group, but you never know who's inside. Right, so something for us to consider as well whenever we do this. All right, and you see here all these things. So don't. All right, you can do it if you are, if you're doing it in your own PC or laptop. I think it's fine. Like if you use Claude has a desktop version. That's one thing good about Claude. It has a very nice desktop version that only reads your file in your folder. It's not uploading anything to the server. It will read only the files in your desktop or in your PC. So it's safe in a way, right? Even though it can still read some data. So in my case, I still remove, even though it's reading it offline. Okay, to be safe, don't upload anything personal or even data actually, because if you think your data is too precious, you don't want people to use it, then don't upload. Right, just in case you have some very precious data that like you can copyright it or you can apply for IP, then don't upload it. Right. Yeah, the AI smell problem, not so much now because you have Claude. Claude can be trained to remove the smell. The smell like list of tree, very famous, parallelism. Any LM is suffering from. Can anyone tell me, or can you guess why? Just curious, anyone knows why? Did you realize that in any LLM, doesn't matter whether it's ChatGPT, whether it's Gemini or Claude, any LLM, why do you think they love to write in list of three? The ing, or sometimes when they give example, it's always three, right? Or when they write sentences, you'll be three, repetition or list of three. Can you guess why? Have you ever thought why? like it's very prevalent in in output, right? Before this, I was teasing my friend because I taught academic writing for quite some years. We were teaching academic English in our university, so I was telling my friend, I miss students using nowadays. Every time I mark essays those days, the first word that I see is nowadays. Nowadays, I don't see nowadays anymore. I don't know whether you see it. Maybe in school, yes. But in university, right, I don't see nowadays anymore. I was joking with my colleague. I miss those days. Those days when you mark essays, right, you have very clear topic sentence, and then they will start firstly, secondly, very systematic, right? Now you don't get that anymore, right? Because everyone is there. But what about this one? List of three. Like those days when you give example, you will give one. Like you will start the sentence like for example, and then one only, right? That's the typical behavior of Malaysian writers, or even students. They will say for example, and then they give only one. Or they say such as one, right? Such as ChatGPT, full stop. Those were the days. Now everyone is giving you three, sometimes a lot, right? Every now and then you get a lot of examples. 1 to 3. One reason is because, in case you are not aware, the major LM, in fact, all major LM, they share the same traits. These are the limitation of the reinforced model that we have in large language model. There's this thing called the reinforced learning. So what happened was, when they started off creating all these large language model, they use magazine corpus. That means, from New York Times and all this. And magazines, being magazines and also newspapers, they love to use this, right? Because it sounds very persuasive and also very, very journalistic, right? You have list of three, and then you have all these M dashes. It came from there. So what happened was because it was trained using those large data set from magazine and newspapers, when they want to improve the LLM for academic purposes, they kind of find it hard because all this AI has reinforced the learning of those. It's like hard-coded already. It's like fossilized, because they were trained at a young age with all this structure. Suddenly you ask it to change, it will take some time. That's why even when you use cloud skill later on, even though you are training it to understand your way of writing, occasionally you will see cloud still write something else without following your style. But at least it's minimal now, as compared to before. All right. And then you also have empty connectors. Sometimes you just randomly put and fixed symmetry. Fixed symmetry means every paragraph sounds the same, very structural kind of style. And then polished blandness. Everything seems good, right? Seems perfect, right? So something for us to be aware of. But now I think the writing is getting better, so it's hard to detect actually as compared to before, right? So if we can't solve the smell problem, what about detecting it? Unfortunately, because the smell is getting harder to trace, you can't really detect it well. So all the detector now, I think they gave up. Even 30in, they have the AI thing. It's very, very misleading. You can write your own writing and then you put it out on 30in, it will say AI. Or you put everything in written by AI, suddenly humans. Because they can't have a proper way of measuring it. After all, it's from AI to AI, I say. AI generated text, you give it to AI, asking AI to judge. You're like, hey, look at the mirror. Right? This is your work, right? So they can't detect because I always say this is like the Spider-Man memes. The Spider-Man memes where everyone is pointing at each other and everyone is the Spider-Man. So the same thing. You are pointing me, and everyone is pointing each other. So they can't decide. And this journal has a very nice comparison. So if you have the time later on, you can search for this. You can read from here. It says, all scored below 80 and only 5 has over 70. Meaning, mostly below 80, but only 5 is above 70. So still very, very dangerous because a lot of false positive, mix and match. So it's very hard to detect. Just because you see list of 3 doesn't mean it's true because the person could be, writing it on its own or on their own, right? So something for us to be watching out as well for detector problem. Okay, so the last part now for the starter kit, I'm going to leave you with 2 kits in a way for you to start, especially if you're new to AI. And the first one is this one, the prompt folio. I created this quite some time ago, but in this page, if you click on the link later on, you will get access to some common prompts that you can use across different LLM. All right, across LLM means you can use it anywhere you like because it's quite, universal. Let's say if you're looking for topic discovery, you can go through this list. All right, try to use some of this to help you to prompt better. All right, so I call it prompt folio, maybe a lousy name, but yeah, it's basically a collection of prompts for research. All right, so you can try it later on. This is the first thing that I think I want to leave you with. The next thing is the Noble LLM part. If you have not used or downloaded my collection of Noble LLM tips, which is here, you can download it from my link here. I have a full list of step-by-step guide on how to use Noble LLM for research. Some of it, some of those steps have been covered just now. Like this one. If you go here, you can download Research Smarter with Noble. I also have the other one, Teach and Study. Study for student, Teach is for teacher. If you have not downloaded, you can use it. So it's free. So for research, you can follow step by step on what to do. The customization that I show you just now is also here. Where? Let me see. Yeah, here. Okay, too far. the customization part. Yeah, well, I think you'll see it later on. Yeah, starting from here. Okay, set up. So you just follow step by step how to set up so that you'll be able to use it for research. The good thing about notebook is you can configure it for different purposes. So for that notebook, you can use it for, research article. And then if you want to use it for your teaching and learning, you can configure it differently. So you can change the configuration by the notebook, not the whole notebook right? Okay. So I think this tool will help you to kickstart your journey in at least trying out AI for how to put it, for research. You don't have to rely only on ChatGPT or even Claude, but I think Notebook is a good start, right? For me, Notebook is a good start for you to discover how AI can benefit you in your research, right? Okay, I think that's it. So a closing thought from me. As I put it on the slide, AI will probably not write the best ELT research paper or thesis for you, but it will definitely give you more time, to focus more on the important part of research. I definitely felt this way because before this, just to look for the article, just to look for some suitable topic, take ages. And by the time you have the motivation to continue, you probably 1 or 2 years back, late, right? So people have been moving on and then you're still crawling. So yeah, so we can use AI to help us to do the nitty-gritty things, and then we focus more on the important thing, especially reading, right? Reading is like a forgotten skill now because AI can produce a lot and we tend to, cross everything. We don't really read. So now the AI has produced the summary for us very fast. Our job is to read and decide whether, all those things can be used. Okay, so if you want the copy of the slide, you can go to this link, tinyurl.com/ELTCW1. Okay, I think it will be shared in the chat later on as well. So I think that's all from me. I'm going to pass back to Dr. Sharmini. If you have any question, I think we can have a quick discussion as well. Stop sharing. Yeah.
Wow. Fantastic, Dr. Chuah.
No problem.
Honestly, I mean, me myself, I think I was lost in this research using AI to do research, kind of coming from the traditional way
Yeah,
of
yeah.
and writing papers. I think we
Yeah.
are still stuck in the middle of
Yeah.
are we doing it right, or I like the word, am I cheating or not?
Yes.
So thank you for that eye-opening presentation, I would say. It's clear that AI isn't just a tool, but sort of like a co-pilot, assistant driver that can handle data analysis
Yeah.
and literature mapping, allowing us to focus on deeper or higher level thinking, critical thinking and thinking skills.
Yeah.
In fact, I myself, I must honestly declare here, lost in which tool to use.
Yeah.
Just standing on ChatGPT and then sometimes thinking that Gemini is better than Chat, and then LM came in between, and now I see another 4 more on my notebook here, Rabbit, Cloud. And there are just so many tools, and I have not explored the one I definitely need in a deeper context. So nevertheless, it's incredibly encouraging to see how these tools can streamline the research process, turning hours of manual sorting into minutes of strategic insight. Dr. Chuah, you have actually shown us that the future of academia is more about human AI synergy.
Yeah.
So we have a few questions,
Okay.
but we'd also like to open the floor for any of you who would like to ask any questions to Dr. Chuah directly. We have about 15 minutes more with us. Any of the participants, if you are keen of asking, just on your mic, or you can put up your hand and then I will just introduce your name and then you can come forward to ask your question. But please on your camera, that will be nice to see who you are actually. Anyone? Mirin, you want to ask something? I saw your video on
Accidental.
camera. Sorry. Okay, I have 2 questions posted to me. All right. Hasnain Zafar.
That's nice.
Yes, Hasnain, can you on your mic, please? Your mic is muted. All right. Go ahead, Hasnain.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really good seeing you. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Joaquiman. And you know, I enjoyed. My concern is more not about researcher, about reviewers and publication in future. As you have highlighted,
Yeah.
most of the heavyweight is done by AI. So
Yeah.
how, as a reviewer or publisher or editor, our role will be?
You mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
what's your say? Like, should we use AI also, or?
oh, you mean for reviewer?
Yeah.
To be honest with you, a recent study also showed that out of 10 reviewers, 8 use AI.
But,
So even
you know, most of journals, they mention clearly we should not use.
yeah, but people don't care because one reason is like this: they are not paid. I think a lot of reviewers are getting a bit tired or fatigued with review because you expect us to review all these papers, which are largely AI generated, but then you don't pay us, right? So what's the point of me spending time reading the papers when, you know, I know that it's not of good quality? So a lot of reviewers actually rely on AI to do the first screening. You can see it when you read the review report, actually, that the traces of AI that is there. But I do think the future, like I do agree with you. I recently had a conversation with one of the chief editors. I said the future of journal is going to be very, very tricky because not only they are, all these journals are surviving because we have this KPI of publication. If we don't have it, right, they will die because no one is going to publish. who on earth will publish papers to all these journals and then paying such amount of money just to get published, right? Probably we can just share, like it's more meaningful to have sharing like this in webinar, going for conferences, share papers and all that than publishing in journal now because most of it you don't really get meaningful feedback, and some will probably get like you said, use AI to evaluate you and then give you different kind of verdict. Recently I feel that as well. Like for example, right, because as like managing editor, I get to see the reviewers, the submission. You will see disparity. It's very hard to find one paper where all reviewers can agree. Somehow one will say reject, some will say major, some will say minor, some will say reject. And then when you read it, all are AI based. So it makes it really, really hard. So I think the future is going to be tricky when it comes to journal publishing. And I do think one day, I don't know, it's going to be quite meaningless to publish if they're still doing that. Yeah. In fact, there are a few tools that I did not share in this session that reviewers use a lot, like paper review, AI, and all this. They use it because the review language is there. So they train it to review like a language, like the language of reviewer. So yeah. Valid concern, and I'm also worried. And I think we probably should stop playing the game. In the future.
Thank you.
Fantastic. I like the point where if there's no KPI, nobody's going to publish.
It's quite true though.
Yeah, true.
They're
And
surviving because of the university, right?
being the editors or chief editors, to get people to submit papers these days, it's a huge struggle. I think, if you have an experience, then you'll understand what we mean.
True.
So, and then after that to check on whether it is original or, how much of AI is using, I can understand, but people or writers using the opportunity itself could be something creditable or appreciated in some way, right?
Yeah.
All right. That's a good question, Dr. Hasnain, right? Anybody else? We still have time for probably another 2 more questions.
Sure.
I have one posted to me, goes something like this. Mention AI as a partner in your title itself.
Yeah.
In your view, what is the one research task that should never be outsourced to AI? So tricky. No
Yeah,
matter how advanced technology could get or becomes, it will never be outsourced to AI. What would that be?
Yeah, I think as mentioned, in my presentation, one of the key area that AI cannot replace is always the final judgment. You have to decide whether or not to accept whatever AI has given you. Like for example, even if you use AI to analyze any data or whatever, you have the final say. You should not treat AI as the decision maker. AI is just like I always say AI is a partner, but the AI is an intern. Meaning he has no conscious experience to really validate what has been produced. It's just churning out for you. You have to decide whether you want to accept it or not. So I think judgment is one thing that will never be replaced by AI, because we know better in terms of the context that we are studying. When we deal with language, for example, we're dealing with humans anyway, and there are a lot of factors which are not captured by AI. All these contextualized factors. If you're studying someone studying in Long Lama, if you compare them with someone in TTDI, it's totally different thing. But AI can tell you the same reason. It will just give you the same reason. So you as the person will judge. This context in Long Lama is way different from what is happening in TTDI, for example. So I think this is something that AI cannot replace. Human judgment is still very, very critical. So we should not outsource everything to AI. The problem is that I think AI is so confident that a lot of, especially novice researchers, they think it's correct. Actually, it's wrong. One of the biggest problem in AI usage is not about using it incorrectly, right? It's thinking that you're using it correctly. Because they think that doing it is correct, right? But I would rather you use it incorrectly. But the problem is you think it's correct. So that is the problem. Yeah.
And probably the senses of smelling also cannot be.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, the smelling
that smelling thing. That was a good term actually you used. Okay, good explanation. And one last question we have. What is your advice to a researcher who is AI skeptical and feels that these tools might devalue the hard work of traditional scholarship or even fear of novelty? I think you did mention in the end just now.
I was one of those who were quite skeptical at first, even though I'm in tech for quite some years, way before AI was. ChatGPT was introduced. AI was there for quite some years, but I was one of those who says something like I mentioned just now. We were having a good discussion those days. Language teaching, writing, everything is going to die because you don't have to teach those skills anymore. And researchers may think that what's the point of doing research with AI when all these hard skills that you learn will no longer be useful. So I think to push yourself further is to understand that you can still do the traditional way. Anyone can who is already well trained in research can actually do it in the traditional way quite fast because they are seasoned and they have they knew the whole process very well. Seasoned researcher, they can just do everything quite fast without relying on AI actually. In fact, relying on AI will slow them down. So if you are that type of researcher who has a very systematic way of conducting your own research, like how it works all these years, you technically do not need AI. Probably you can only go for, how to put it, alternative when you need it to be more critical, maybe. In terms of speed, I don't think it can be a good persuasion. One would be the depth, Like for example, when you use your own when you do your own thematic analysis, all this Brown and Clark thematic analysis, whatever, if you use your manual way, you can still get a meaningful, deep understanding. But with AI, maybe you can get more deeper layers of themes or something that you don't.
In other words, you could always provide the draft which is originally from
Exactly.
yours.
Yeah.
And then get AI to
Exactly.
voice you
Yeah,
over, like even you shared on Cloud AI, right?
yeah, yeah.
Cloud AI.
Ask it to critique.
What I understand is if you provide your voice in a draft and then Cloud will actually
Learn from it.
enhance it for you. Learn
Exactly.
your voice first and then it will enhance it for you.
Exactly.
Right.
So that is one way to persuade for all the skeptics to go.
Console,
But
console.
But I think another thing is I just shared this morning as well. Oh no, yesterday I told the UNIMAP lecturers. The problem with social media now is they are also enhancing this exposure to different type of AI. So when you go to social media, you see everyone is using, oh, this is why this guy is using that one, different tool. You start to feel like there's so many things to learn. But in actual fact, most AI tools out there, they are governed by the same LLM. One of the biggest one is still OpenAI, ChatGPT. Like for example, you use Quillbot. Quillbot is powered by GPT. If you use SciSpace is powered by ChatGPT. So technically speaking, if you know how to use ChatGPT, it's enough. Because all these other tools are just plugging in all these different tools. So my advice is just pick one that you're most comfortable with, and then just use it as to the
Explore.
max. Yeah, to the
Explore,
max.
right.
Yeah. You don't have to go for so many tools. There's just too many.
Yeah.
And then you will feel that
Overwhelmed.
yeah. I know there's a FOMO syndrome, right? Fear of missing out, because everyone is doing it. You might want to jump into that bandwagon, but in AI, I think you can't do that. You just pick the one that's more relevant to you, and then just stick to it. Yeah, like when I
Jack of all trades, master of
yeah. ChatGPT is good enough actually. Everyone asking me which one I would choose, even though I love Claude and everything. If you are a common user or a starter, I always advise you to start with ChatGPT. Gemini would be something for fun to generate photos, to generate, not really for academic writing. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
That was really good information, Dr. Chuah.
Yeah.
I don't think we have time for
Yeah.
more than that. Before we share the attendance link for the and feedback form, we would kindly like to request all of you to on your camera for a nice photograph. We have 170 participants today who have gathered with us. Oh, we have Mr. Terry as well,
Mr.
who is on duty as the Deputy Director for ELTC. Would you like to say anything, Mr. Terry?
Hi, Dr. Chuah, right? Thank you so much for sharing on behalf of my director, and I'm happy to see so many participants from all over the country joining us online. It was truly insightful, and we have learned quite a lot of latest AI tools to help us with our daily tasks and also research. So all the best to you, and thank you. Hopefully more collaboration in the future.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr.
Can we all get our cameras on just for a few seconds and then get a nice photograph of all of us? Can I get a cue from Dr. Fazlin, please?
Right. I think Niwashini, you are going to take the photo, right? All right. So I'm just
Yes.
all right.
Let me adjust the view tiles.
Are we ready, Niva?
Yeah, hold on, because I want to maximize so we can see everybody
We need
here.
to take a few screen, as we have almost 160 participants.
So while Ms. Niwa is trying to do the setup, I just like to congratulate the team, the department as well for planning and managing this webinar. Well done.
Thank you, Mr. Terry. Also to our ICT team, they went all out to do 2 dry runs with us past 2 days. And hope to do more after this launching.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, another one. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right.
Okay. So to all participants, the link for the attendance and feedback form is now being
Yeah.
posted in the chat box. Okay. And also the QR code on the screen. Please complete it to receive your e-certificate. You can also scan the QR code shown on the screen. And on behalf of ELTC, we thank you for your active participation for the past 2 hours. Thank you to the ICT team of ELTC. Such a blessing to have you all with us, assisting the R&I department to put this program together. And let us continue to innovate and uphold the excellence of ELT in Malaysia, having AI as our partner. Okay, thank you so much. Salam Malaysia Madani, Informasi Pendidikan. With that, we end our webinar. Stay safe and have a wonderful afternoon. Have a safe and good day. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Chuah.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you,
Sharmini.
Dr.
Thank
Chua.
you, everyone.
Okay,
And
thank you.
ELTC.
Take care,
Bye.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.